I see you and you see me. Watch you blowing the line when you're making a scene. Oh girl, you've got to know what my head overlooks. The senses will show. Private eyes, they're watching you. They see your every move. Private eyes, they're watching you. Private eyes, watching you.
Hello,
Hi.
and welcome to LMNOP, the podcast about the greatest show on television, Elementary.
Gently Holistic Detective.
It's Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and that's not the
All
best
right, yes.
show on television.
I'm glad we're in agreement.
No, we're not, and that's not a word.
We're in egregious. We're in egregious and Kelly.
No, we're not. I'm Val Flight Cub, a.k.a. a magical mongoose chase.
Ooh. And I am Alec, a.k.a. Reese's Puffs Pass.
That's good, and it will make sense later.
Thank you. My other one was Magic Mushrooms. But that only makes sense if you also watch Dirk Gently Holistic Detective Agency.
Magic?
Magic. Reese is played by the same guy that is the Mage
Oh, yeah.
in season 2.
Yes. Spoilers. There's a character called the Mage in season 2 of Dirk Gently's.
Yeah, you find out like immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah, but spoilers. Just a little bit. Like 20-minute spoilers.
But not even really, because they just know now that there's a male character named the Mage.
Yeah. Which is the entire point of the season 2 of Dirk Gently.
We ruined it.
There's no point in even watching it anymore.
So let's not talk about it anymore, because this is a podcast about Elementary, not Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Okay, well, I promise that I will talk about Sherlock.
I don't want you to talk about Sherlock.
Sherlock Hobbs.
I want you to talk about...
The sheriff in season 2 of Dirk...
I want you to talk about Elementary,
Fine.
the TV show.
Fine.
The CBS TV show.
Fine, I'm only doing it because you were currently threatening me with a giant gun filled with drugs. The name of this episode of Elementary.
Yes, the name of the episode, season 1, episode 15, A Giant Gun Filled with Drugs. They named this episode of the TV show the way a lot of noise-based podcasts title their episodes of podcasts, which is just like a punchy, funny, weird thing that somebody says during it.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, how some of the earlier episodes, it's like at the end, you're like, oh, I get the title now. Mm-hmm. This one, 6 minutes in.
Joan just says it.
You're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. So we'll get to that. But first, we have an intro to do of the TV show. Mm-hmm. We're not doing it. It was already done by the people who made the TV show. So it's actually pretty normal. It's like very predictable kind of person about to get murdered intro. But it's like she's being smart. So this jogger, young woman, returns to her home. She's getting a little drink of water, some Wawa. It's important to hydrate.
Well, especially after jogging.
Mm-hmm. So she's getting her electrolytes, which all plants crave, and she hears a knock on the door, and it's nighttime. And this guy comes up to the door, and is like, hi, my van broke down. I'm supposed to make a delivery, and I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Can I charge my phone in your house? And she's like, what's the number? And he's like, my phone's dead. I don't know what it is.
It's my first day.
It's my first day.
I don't have the number memorized.
I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do this. And she's just like, this is all very coincidental and suspicious. So, no.
And he's like, please, I also really have to poop.
And she's like, no, I've seen this TV show. I'm not doing that. And the guy's like, dang it. And he walks away, and then she gets yanked by somebody who's already in her house.
Oh, darn. It was a red herring.
Mm-hmm. It was a red herring. It's because they cut to the guy later who's like, a cabbie is letting him charge his phone in his car, and he's like, thank you, man. You're a good Samaritan. Like, so it's like, it was real. It was a real story.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to...
you know what's happening in the background of that little conversation?
What?
Our masked man, who is, well, now not wearing a mask because walking around with a mask on is suspicious, but some random dude now is walking away with a suitcase, and we know who's in that suitcase.
It's person-sized suitcase. Yeah.
It's person-shaped. It's not even a rectangular suitcase.
Just a coffin, but with a little handle and wheels, so you can wheel it through the airport.
Easy peasy.
No, it's not coffin-shaped.
No, it's just a regular suitcase.
That was a joke. But anyway, it was big enough to fit a person in, just like Dick Cheney's freezer.
Oh, got him. I don't get that. I don't know.
Ba-ba-ba-bow. It was an episode of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Back in the day, Dick Cheney had a man-sized freezer. No, he had a man-sized safe. Sorry. He had a man-sized safe. Cut that joke, please, editor. Thank you. So, okay. So now we go to Sherlock. His adventure in life is that he's at a meeting. He's at an NA meeting.
AA meeting. Oh, yeah. NA meeting.
Yeah, he's at an NA meeting. This meeting is not applicable, you know? NA. If you ask Sherlock. Nah. So he's like, well, it turns out that the guy had dropped the walking stick while he was fleeing because in order to, which the police mistook for a weapon later, in order to pick up the mongoose, which was part of his magician act. Of
course.
So once I realized that, I figured out rather quickly that the colonel hadn't been murdered. He just died of a heart attack after seeing this magician that he had that he had sentenced to death all those years ago. And everyone in the meeting is like, huh.
This guy didn't talk about drugs once.
Yeah. This, by the way, as you could guess, is a Sherlock story, is a real, from the Arthur Conan Doyle. The Adventure of the Crooked Man, one of 56 short stories written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. And apparently this was his 15th in the list of his 19 favorite Sherlock Holmes series. So this was top half.
Dang.
Yeah.
Top 15.
And all it gets is a passing mention in this TV show.
Yeah, where's the movie franchise based off the Mongoose Magician?
What the heck? Well, you probably can't make a whole murder mystery series based off of people dying of heart attacks from surprise.
You'd be surprised.
Spoiler alert for The Crooked Man. So...
Mangeese. That would be the sequel.
Mangeese?
Mangeese.
So Joan, they go back home and Joan is like, well, that was the first time I've heard someone say mongoose at an NA meeting in the context of telling a story. And it was also your first time piping up, and you didn't talk about drugs at all. And Sherlock was like, the people in the meeting looked bored and sad. I thought I could cheer them up with a story of my adventure.
Yeah, drugs are boring. Everyone talks about drugs.
He's like, it's a bit cliche to talk about your drug story at a drug meeting. Like, okay.
Let's spice this thing up.
Derivative much? Yeah. Let's get some variety in here. So Sherlock is clearly still not taking the NA meetings very seriously at all. He doesn't care. He doesn't need them.
It's like he thinks he's invincible or something.
He thinks he's invisible. He's like, the drugs can't see me.
If I can't see the drugs, they can't see me.
Yeah. He's like a little baby. He's so stupid. So Joan goes up to her room and there's a guy there with his penis out.
What?
His whole everything is out. He's got a towel wrapped around his shoulders.
It's a naked man in the brownstone?
Naked man. And...
There's a couple brownstones in the brownstone?
Brown hairy stones? Yeah. So you're saying?
Oh, it's disgusting, Val. You just made it gross.
Hair is not disgusting. That's all I added to the equation.
Hair is disgusting, which is why my favorite animal is the naked mole rat.
You have a beard. Tell Balto you hate hair.
I would, but every time I open my mouth, I get a hair in it.
So this guy is like, oh, hello. And Joan just like looks at him and is like, Sherlock! Calls him up. So this is a guy named Reese, and he's Scottish. And he's here in New York. New York? No. He's here in New York because he's in a real pickle.
Oh, no.
I don't know how to do a Scottish accent. Am I doing it? No.
Get out my swamp.
I'm no.
Get out my swamp. There you go.
That's not...
Give me swamp.
Gimme swamp.
Give me swamp.
Yar. I think you can get it if you do a pirate accent. Yar, me booty. Plunder the... blah blah.
Arr,
me daughter's been kidnapped for ransom.
get out me swamp.
So this is really funny because Sherlock comes up and he's like, Reese, oh hello. What brings you to New York? And he's like, my daughter's been kidnapped. I'm sorry to everyone from Scotland or anyone who's ever met anyone from Scotland or anyone who's seen a pamphlet for Scotland.
I apologize to no one ever.
Even about your swamp accent?
Get out.
And Sherlock is like, when was she captured? And he's like, 2 days ago. I got an email from her. No, I got a letter from her email. And then Sherlock's like, video or note? And Reese is like, video. And Joan is like, okay, this is great. This is a great little conversation. As this is very important. Sherlock is like so focused on solving the case. And it's like, there's a whole dongle right there.
Well, he hears kidnapping. Kidnapping immediately means time limit. Mm-hmm. Time limit means you're just focusing, get down to business.
Mm-hmm. Don't get too far down.
No, get down.
Because there's a dingle there.
Get right in it.
Anyway, so
Joan, I mean, what she says
like a prude.
She's like, hey, if we're gonna have this conversation, we should all be wearing the same amount of clothing. Mm-hmm. So she and Sherlock start stripping.
Yeah, it's only fair. And they wet themselves in the sink, so they're all kind of dewy from the shower, like he was. You know. Yeah,
and they both grab a towel, but they only have 2 normal sized towels. So Sherlock has just a little hand towel.
Mm-hmm. He puts on the back of his neck so he fits in. Mm-hmm. You know. I would love if they had Sherlock do the little like head wrap thing that you do with a towel on your head when you get out of the shower. Mm-hmm. I would love to see Sherlock in one of those. Yeah. Like, don't disturb me, Joan. I'm doing self-care today. I took a luxurious bath. He's just got the little head wrap over it. But it's like after his head's been shaved. So it's just for no reason. So Reese is like, okay, good idea. I'll go get changed into a different size towel. So we're all wearing the same size towel. And he goes into Joan's room, and Joan is like, oh, fine, whatever.
Yeah, she starts to say, that's my room. But I'm like, Joan, he's already put his suitcase in there, and that's where his clothes are. So if you want him to put his clothes on, you have to allow him in the room. Uh-huh. Unless you're going to pick out his outfit, Joan.
Like Sherlock did for her. But she hated. That's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah. He does close the door behind him, though. Like, he doesn't run in for his suitcase and then go to a different room.
Well, he needs some privacy.
He could bring his clothes somewhere else. Uh-huh. It's too much time. Someone's been taken. Time is of the essence.
Someone needs to call Liam Neeson's.
Time is an essential oil.
Time is a spice.
Yeah. But yeah, it's true. A daughter specifically has been taken, so we should call Liam Neeson.
He's the expert in all of this.
He's got his particular set of skills. But here's the thing about Sherlock Holmes, is he has several sets of specific skills.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Like hacking, and smelling, and looking, and...
hacky sacking.
Uh-huh.
Beekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Snarky remarks.
Rarky snarks.
Charky labarks. Yeah. So Joan is like, oh, so Reese, he must be an old friend of yours. And Sherlock's like, no, he's my former drug dealer. And Joan is like, what?
He's here?
And then we go to the intro song. And this was something that I was right about.
Yes, you were correct.
I was right.
You were 100% right.
I said, oh, this is a shorter intro. Mm-hmm. And you said no.
You said it's the short intro.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you said...
I said it was a shorter intro. Mm-hmm. And it was.
Uh-huh, yes. How so?
Well, because it was the original sequence of the Rube Goldberg machine of a marble rolling on a ball. Or the marble doesn't roll on a ball, but it rolls down a little slide and then a something and something. But I have watched this show enough that I could recognize that the intro song was a little bit shorter. And you were like, no, because it had the whole thing. It had the whole Rube Goldberg mousetrap machine. You didn't say Rube Goldberg because you still don't know what that is.
It's a mousetrap.
Mousetrap. And I said, well, I didn't say it was the really short one. I just said it was I said it was shorter. Mm-hmm. And we watched it, and there were no scissors.
No scissors.
No scissors closing and cutting the rope, which is a pivotal part of the machine.
Which indicates to me that they needed an additional 2.4 seconds for this episode of Elementary.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if we can find which seconds it was that they put in. You know, that like...
the pivotal extra seconds of plot that could not be cut.
You know what I bet it was? The Mongoose story.
Yeah.
Already. It's just a delight. But it doesn't have... it has a slight thing to do with the plot, but not really. Because, it indicates that he's over the... He doesn't care about the meetings, but...
But it needs the extra time.
Mm-hmm.
his 15th favorite story.
Yeah. So we're back from the intro, and Joan is like, "What the heck, dude? You can't have this guy here." And Sherlock's like, "He's an ex-dealer. Like, I'm an ex-junkie. It's in the past."
Yeah, and I just want to be like, hey, Sherlock, once an addict, always an addict.
Yeah, you're a pickle, man.
You gotta work on that. What? You're a pickle?
Yeah, when you're an addict, being, I heard this about being an alcoholic, but I think it's probably the same for an addict. It's like, when you're not an addict, you're a cucumber. And then you go into the brine that is addiction, and you become a pickle. And then when you come out of the brine, you're dry, but you're still a pickle.
Yeah. Can't go back to a cucumber.
Sherlock's a dang pickle.
Once a raisin, never a grape again.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're applesauce, you can't be an apple.
Can't put the applesauce back in the apple. That one's actually about virginity. So Joan is like, yeah, it doesn't matter if he isn't a dealer anymore. Like, you're a pickle. He's a pickle also. And Sherlock is like, what, do you think that he's a trigger? And Joan says the title line.
She says, yeah, a trigger on a giant gun filled with drugs pointed right at you.
Yeah. And Sherlock is like, okay, yes, but
I'm really good at dodging things.
I'm great at stuff and things. So I'm a multi-dimensional being and I'll be fine. I just wrote, I'm multi-planed was his response.
Oh, yeah. He, because his friendships and the people that he holds dear to him is on a different plane of existence in his mind from his addiction.
Yes.
So he can separate those two things.
Yes.
He also says, basically, also, you're the one in charge of making sure I don't do drugs, so I guess you'll just have to work harder this week.
Mm-hmm. Which is ironic, given that she's not being paid.
You're right. Mm-hmm. She's just there for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And love.
And learning.
And love. Friend love.
So Reese comes downstairs now. He's all dressed. He's completely dressed.
And he looks lovely.
He's wearing a balaclava and mittens and a full body morph suit and boots over the morph suit.
Bold choice.
Mm-hmm. But you can't see any part of him. So that's good. No. And he's like, I'm sorry to have dropped in on ya. I should have known you'd have a bird. A bird.
A what?
A bird.
Oh, a bird.
He's saying bird, yeah. And Joan is like, I'm not a bird, I live here.
I'm not a bird, I'm a human being.
Which, like, Joan, birds have to live somewhere.
In nests. She's saying, I don't live in a nest. I live in Sherlock's nest egg.
That's true. But what she means is that they don't, she's not over for a...
I'm not some floozy.
I'm not a floozy. Yeah.
I'm not some loosey-goosey.
I'm not a mongoose. She's not.
Slap this caboosey.
So they're like, all right, let's look at this video demand. Let's look at this kidnapping video demand.
This ransom note that comes in the form of a video. Mm-hmm. And it starts off and it's like, bam, 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 bam. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Kidnapping King.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. This one is going to be crazy for you guys today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If I get 40,000 likes on this one, I will kidnap the governor's daughter. So go ahead and smash that like button. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. That's basically what it is.
Yeah. Almost word for word.
Just kidding. All that stuff's at the end.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking...
You don't start the video with that. It turns off viewers.
That would be fucking crazy. If, like, it was like your terrified loved one, like, just scared and chained to a wall, and she's like, they know that you have their money. Give them $10 million by Friday or I'm gonna die. Like and subscribe. They said you have to hit the bell button in the next 10 seconds. God, that would be horrible. That's not funny. If you were kidnapped, sorry for making fun of video ransom.
And if you're currently kidnapped, hey, pretty cool if you're kidnapped to let you listen to LMNOP.
It's a good podcast for being kidnapped. If you are, you can contact us at LMNOPcast and just tweet a secret code word, which will be
cinnamon alligator.
So if you tweet that to us, we'll know that you were kidnapped. And we'll
send you thoughts and prayers.
And some merch. You'll get first dibs of any merch we have. This is hella disrespectful now.
Come get your LMNOP blindfold.
No! No! We'll send you a hoodie with a file inside.
Oh.
Yeah.
And in that file is some documents.
No, I knew you were going to misunderstand what I was saying on purpose. For what? Just to make a joke? No, for our comedy podcast.
That would never.
I know. Burn. So they watch this video. It's a normal video. And the voice behind the camera demands $2.2 million in 4 days, which is now 2 days from now, because it was 2 days ago that he got the email.
Yeah, it took him long enough to get his crap figured out.
Well, he had to take a plane to England. That
takes 2 days?
Well, good point. Maybe he thought he could do it himself, and then he was like, wait a minute, I'm stupid. So Joan is like, well, that's a really specific number. Like, do you have $2.2 million? And Reese is like, not anymore. So he had stolen $2.2 million from the Dominican cartel.
Oh, no. Mm-hmm. That's one of the worst ones.
How do you know that?
They're all bad, babe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dominican is the worst cartel except for all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Winston Churchill said that.
Winston Churchill is the worst cartel.
So Reese is like, yeah, I only have 2 left. And Sherlock's like, 2 million's not bad. And Reese is like, 2 quarters. I have 2 quarters left. 50 cents to my name. No, he has $2,000 left.
Give or take. Uh-huh. He's like, well, he says less than 2, mm-hmm. give or take. I bet he's got like $1,450.
Yeah, that's the lowest you can go.
Yeah.
Well, still rounding up to.
Yeah, it's practically
$2,000.
Give or take.
You know? Yeah.
I have $2,000. Give or take $2,000.
Yeah. What's the sig fig on that? So, because the reason that he has been able to spend $2,200,000 in 18 months.
$2,198,000.
Right. My bad. Yeah. Is because he's a gambler.
He lost it. He put it in a bag and he forgot where that bag was.
No, he knows where the bag is.
Oh, yeah.
It's in some other man's lap.
The casinos.
It's inside of the casino machines.
Who knows where the money is? The casinos.
Yeah, so he's like, Sherlock loved drugs. I loved gambling. Gambling is a weird hobby because it's literally like drugs. Okay, drugs, you get addicted to doing drugs. You have to spend money to buy them. Mm-hmm. Gambling is literally just spending money is the thing that you're addicted to.
I believe you're addicted to the high you get when you win. And the problem is gambling does not allow you to win very often. That's the point of gambling.
Right. But it's also like the only way to get that high is to give money.
Right.
Whereas like if you were addicted to like smelling glue, you could steal glue,
Yeah, but you can't just steal heroin.
Right. That's why I use the example of glue.
That's a good point.
But like, you know what I mean? Like gambling, like the money is it.
So what you're saying is if you're going to get addicted to something, do it to something you can steal from Staples.
I'm not saying that. I would never say that. But if I were to say it, no. So Sherlock does the math and he's like, okay, so we have 44 hours. Luxury. I could do it in half that time.
Less than a day?
Give me 45 minutes. I'll figure out where she is. Who cares? So...
Give me a map and a dart, and I'll figure it out.
So Joan is like, hey, Reese, you seem not that scared about this. And Reese is like, I believe in Sherlock Holmes.
I don't care about my daughter that much. No, he believes in Sherlock Holmes because he's seen Sherlock work. Mm-hmm. Work is magic.
Back in England.
Back in London.
London. Reese saw Sherlock get the London look. Maybelline. No. Lord, Rimmel get the London look.
Okay, maybe it is Maybelline.
Maybe it's not. She's born with it. Maybe she's born with it.
Maybe
Maybelline.
Maybe Sherlock with it. Sherlock. Never mind.
Maybe Sherlock with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Dear Maybelline, please reach out to us about changing your slogan, we will accept $2.2 million.
We will also accept 2 quarters.
Please, Maybelline, we need money. So, I found this a little much. I don't know. Like, why am I not worried? I watched him, suss out where a bomb was based on looking at the suspect's shoe, some stains on his shoe. Mm-hmm. I believe in Sherlock Holmes. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, were they trying to make t-shirts that said that? Or like, I don't know. Did that strike you at all as like a little something?
No. It just, I don't know, showed to me that Reese is kind of an eccentric character.
Oh, okay. I buy it. So they go to the scene of the crime. We're on our way to the scene of the crime. Legally Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
You knew that.
Yeah.
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 So Sherlock sees some cigarette ash on the floor.
In Emily's apartment.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, it was Dominicans. Because this is a Dominican cigarette ash, and your daughter isn't a smoker at all. And Joan is like, you can identify cigarette just by the ash? And he's like, if you had bothered to read my monographs, you would know I can identify 140 different cigarettes based on the ash, Joan. So we were wrong. It's not 500. It's 140.
Yeah, work on it, Sherlock. Come on.
Well,
you think you're impressive.
How many cigarettes do you think there are? How many kinds of cigarettes?
I was going to say there are billions of cigarettes.
Damn. True. And he also finds a stamp on the door frame that rubbed off of the kidnapper. And he's like, I know it was a kidnapper because she had just gone for a run, which was why she was having a drink of water. And she couldn't have gone to a club in exercise gear. So she's, it wasn't her, it was the kidnapper. And also it's this Dominican club called Hurricane.
Yeah, but also she could have had the stamp on from the night before.
She could have come home from going to a club and then put on exercise clothes, gone on a run, came back, went to get a drink of water.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But either way, Hurricane.
Hurricane with a K. So Curricane.
Hurricane the nightclub with also a K.
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane the kite club. They go to the park and fly kites.
Hurricane the kite club is 3 Ks in a row.
Whoopsies. This is not a good place.
Not that kind of club. So they come up with an ingenious disguise for Reese because they're like, we got to find this guy. Let's see if Reese recognizes any of these Dominican cartel guys in the club of Hurricane.
But we don't want the Dominican cartel guys who have worked with Reese to recognize Reese.
Right, as the guy that they hate who took their money.
Right.
So
we don't want them marveling at him. A disguise in the Marvel universe is just hat and sunglasses.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's not wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, not...
He's just wearing a hat.
It's just a hat.
A very Scottish-looking hat, too.
It's a kilt. It's a kilt he's wearing as a hat.
It's a head kilt. Yeah. Again, sorry to Scotland. So Joan is like, this is a terrible plan. And Sherlock is like, why do you really hate this? Because I know it's not your period because I tracked your cycle and you're not due for another week and a half. And Joan is like, it's not less misogynistic if you say it scientifically.
Scientists can be jerks too.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even have to say it's the most dismissive thing you can ever say to a person.
And also, it's just weird and creepy to keep track of any other human being's menstrual cycle. Mm-hmm. So just be blindsided by it like the rest of us.
Just like they are, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joan's probably one of those people that knows when her period is coming. And not because she gets an app notification that says, your period should be here.
She can just sense it in the wind.
She keeps track of things.
Oh, yeah. Smart.
On top of her
jogs
shit.
A lot.
Yeah. So Joan is like, okay, well, so what's the plan now? And Sherlock is like, well, I'm going to pee.
It's a good plan.
He goes to the bathroom.
You got to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm. He's been hydrating too. Mm-hmm. He heard the beginning of our podcast that said to hydrate, and he's doing it. And he's peeing clear and cheering. If you pee clear, cheer.
Woo!
The motto of Aquaria, the winner of season 10 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, the reason he goes to the bathroom...
Well, he goes to the bathroom, and immediately we know shit's going down because he breaks the first rule of men's bathrooms, which is socially distant. We've been socially distancing since long before all of this. You always leave a urinal between individuals.
A urinal.
A urinal.
Yernal.
When you're
a urinal.
Urinaling for space.
Yeah, because he goes right up next to the guy. And he's like, hello, you're in the DEA, right? Can you help me? And the guy's like, what? I'm going to punch your nuts in.
Well, he says no hablas inglés.
He tells Sherlock that Sherlock doesn't speak English. That's what no hablas inglés means.
I'm sorry, I don't hablas Spanish. I'm not going to know all the grammar when I hablas it.
I don't like that. Don't like to hear it.
Well, let's pause the podcast, teach me Spanish, and then we'll hablas it together.
Yeah. So Sherlock is like, I know you're DEA because all your tattoos are exactly the same age, and you looked in a bucket. That's very DEA of you. He was looking at the reflective bucket to see behind him.
And that's a technique you don't learn on the streets. You learn that in Quantico.
You don't learn that on the streets with a Z. Streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you learn to check your surroundings in the streets?
You don't. You get your friends to look behind you for you.
Oh, dang.
That's a rule of the streets.
Get some friends who get shot in the back.
Damn.
Or sometimes you get friends.
Get bad friends who stab you in the back.
Stab you in the back. Fuck you, Tony.
Okay, we're going to take a pause and come back to this in 3 hours. So.
Thank you.
All right, we're back. We're not crying anymore. We feel good.
I'm fine.
Yeah. So the guy who's definitely not a DEA agent is like, hey, Sherlock, why don't you meet me outside of the bathroom and I'm going to punch your lights out. And so he's like beating up Sherlock. Because, of course, Sherlock was right about him. He is a DEA agent. But he was like, I can't talk to you in there all calm-like because that'll just make me look suspicious. I can't blow my cover. So I'm going to beat you up. And while I'm beating you up, I'm going to, get real close in your ear. Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
Just like they do in real boxing. Mm-hmm. Whisper sweet nothings to each other.
Right. Boxers, I wonder if any boxer has ever just kissed the other boxer's ear.
Oh, definitely. Happens all the time.
They hug a lot, you know? So you could get overwhelmed with a hug. And anyway, so the guy, the DE agent, he's like, listen, it wasn't the cartel. Nobody in the cartel, the cartel is not responsible for this kidnapping. Sorry.
I know all the crimes that happen in the cartel.
This ain't one of them.
And you're probably looking at the only crime in New York City and New York State that the cartel isn't involved with. Excuse me.
That's what he says in the episode. It's really embarrassing.
Yeah.
For the DEA
it's like,
agent.
What, are you getting winded punching me, nerd?
So they're back at the brownstone. And Sherlock he's saying some extreme stuff. He's like, horrible. Banality makes a case for eugenics. And Joan's like, what? What are you reading? And Sherlock's like, ugh, Emily's Twitter feed.
Oh.
Such a fucking extreme thing to say. Like,
it's just like, oh, well, because he believes he's the smartest man in the world, better than everybody. Mm-hmm. And all the Twitter feed is a splattering of your thoughts, of a normal human being's thoughts. Mm-hmm. It's as if you had to read a transcript of Bobo throughout the day. And he's just
but that would be adorable.
Bone. I'm going to chew this bone.
Crunch, 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 crunch.
I chewed on this bone. I choked on the bone a little bit, but now I'm going to go back to chewing it.
I'm sitting. My butt's on the blanket. The rest of me is on the blanket, too. My leg is on the blanket. I'm going to curl up now.
I'm sniffing the blanket. It smells good.
I'm licking the blanket.
It smells like my butt, and I like it.
I'm going to lick the blanket. No, wait. I'm going to lick my groin. No, wait. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah, I can see if having to read a whole day's worth.
Looking for a clue in all of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But either way, I think he's being dramatic as always.
Yeah, well, of course.
But anyway, so the Twitter, doesn't say anything about anything.
It doesn't say, oh no, there's a bad guy standing in my house.
Gonna go for a jog. Oh, just came back from a jog. Oh, haha, look at this weird shape in my window. Looks like a guy.
Who has a tattoo of a snake.
Right.
Eating a mouse.
So, yeah. Well, actually, there is a reason.
What?
There is a clue.
What?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
There's a clue?
Mm-hmm. Yep. But first, Joan is like, okay, well, anyway, we have to go to NA now, again. And Sherlock's like, but we just went yesterday, It's like when I wash my hands, I'm like, ugh. I just did this earlier. I gotta do it again? No, just kidding. That's how I feel about work, though, when I have to go in consecutive days.
I was just there yesterday.
Yeah. Like, why would I?
Or even, I was there 2 days ago.
I was just there. Yeah. Anyway, so they don't end up going because Sherlock finds a clue. But before Sherlock explains the clue, Joan goes up to use the bathroom, and Reese is in there. And she's like, knock, knock, knock. And he's like, oh, yeah, just 1 second. You know. And then she comes in and she's like, drugs? Really? And Reese is like, it's just pot. My daughter's been kidnapped.
It's just the wacky backy.
Wacky backy is what he says.
And I blew it out the window bindo.
Yeah. It's just some harmless barmless. And Joan is like, this is a dry house. She says, I'm a sober companion. Lie. Sherlock is a drug addict. Not a lie. You can't have any drugs in this house. You can't talk about drugs in this house. I feel bad that your daughter is taken, but if you endanger sobriety of Sherlock Holmes, I'm going to kill you. Not really.
I don't even want you to say words that rhyme with drugs. Mm-hmm. So I want you to wipe that smug look off your face.
Why is she allowed to say it?
Because she's not a drug dealer.
Oh, yeah. Fair. Okay. Sherlock has discovered in Emily's Twitter feed a hashtag that awkward moment when tweet. And Sherlock's like, haha, awkward moment is just like being kidnapped.
That awkward moment when you get thrown in a suitcase.
That awkward moment when you get kidnapped. That feel when you're dead. So, my face when I get kidnapped. Be me. Get put in a suitcase. My face when. Green text? You know anything about them?
Uh-huh.
Great. So, it says, that awkward moment when the guy who gave you allowance comes to you for a loan. And Reese is like, I was never there for her in any way. And Sherlock's like, yeah, no, we know. This is talking about her stepdad.
Oh.
Yes, who owns some property downtown or something. In some area that he thought would get gentrified, but then didn't. So now he's broke. And he has to work as a valet. So they're going to go wait out his...
He could have just made it affordable housing, but whatever.
Yeah, it's not like there are subsidies for that or anything that he could take advantage of. It's fine. Maybe it's zoned for restaurants or something, you know? So... he's working at as a valet, so they're going to tail him at his work and follow him where he goes after, because they figure maybe he kidnapped a person. You know, maybe Emily told him about Reese's money, and so he was like, oh, I will kidnap her.
Or maybe they're working together.
Ooh,
and they're little tricksters against Reese.
Maybe. You'll just have to keep watching CBS's Elementary to find out. And by that, I mean, please listen to the rest of this podcast. So Belle calls Sherlock, and he's like, yeah, so I looked into this stepdad guy. It turns out he's broke. We have police record type situation info that confirms it.
We know things.
We know things.
The police.
And one of them is that he's broke. Why do you ask? And Sherlock's like, click. Just
not to tell you anything.
Yeah. I think he says thanks for the information, but then Bella's like, why did you want it? And Sherlock's like, click. You know.
He's just like, I'm an information vampire.
Yeah. This is just for a snack. So that was our little morsel of Belle this week. The captain isn't in this episode at all.
Nope. Unnecessary character. Mm-hmm. Let's just get rid of him.
Oh, we should also mention, it's because the ransomer said in the note, or in the video, no FBI, no police involvement. So that's why they're not involving the police.
And now we just listen to kidnappers, I guess.
Yeah. Sherlock negotiated with that one terrorist, so he's like, I'm going to keep doing it. Worked out pretty well.
I'm the best negotiator?
Turns out I'm pretty good at a lot of stuff. So, yeah, so Joan is like, I'm going to go inside and order a food or something. I don't remember what she does. She leaves. She's like, I'm going to leave this scene for a minute. And Reese is like, so Sherlock must be hard to be a detective without doing drugs, huh? And Sherlock is like, no, the fuck?
Yeah, it makes it easier to be a detective.
Why would it?
Scientific deductions without drugs coursing through my
without
body.
Being high. Yeah. And Reese is like, but it's like art, you know? The deduction is like, it's like the creative part. So obviously you know all of that stuff, but, you know, the creative connections, maybe you need drugs for that. And Sherlock's like, no.
I disagree.
Shut the up. And Joan comes back. And she's like, hey, so the guy we've been watching this whole time is leaving. So we should maybe leave because that was the whole reason we were here. And they're like, oh.
Sorry, we were talking about drugs.
What?
I mean...
bugs.
Bugs.
If you read my monographs, you would know.
I love bugs.
So they're trailing this guy, and they're like, oh, pretty convenient for... No, what?
Pretty suspicious.
Pretty suspicious. Because he's bringing groceries to an abandoned building.
An abandoned building?
Which, by definition, wouldn't have any people in it.
There's no one in there, so who are the groceries for?
Maybe a kidnappee.
Maybe mice. Maybe he's feeding mice.
Oh. He gets home with the groceries and it's all cheese. Yeah, which, did he go to the grocery store and they followed him to the grocery store?
I mean, presumably.
Or did he bring them to work and then...
We did not see that, but... Well, I mean, to be fair, if you're in an abandoned building, do you have a refrigerator? And if you don't have a refrigerator, would you buy perishables? And if not, then they could have, been in his car since before work.
So he went grocery shopping and then he went to work?
I don't know.
And then brought them home?
Maybe.
So anyway, spoiler, we just spoiled it. But the girl's not in there.
Oh.
Because he's not using his abandoned building as a kidnap hideaway. He's using it to squat in. Because he has no money.
No.
He's broke it.
He has nothing except for multiple buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's really down on his luck.
Yeah.
Well, he does say, I technically still own it, which probably means something about... He's probably not doing great.
Yeah.
With his ownership of the buildings either.
He's like, you can't kick me out.
Yeah.
I own these bricks.
And he also says, I raised Emily. I wouldn't hurt her for any money. So he's out. He's not a suspect anymore.
I still say they could be working together.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're about to know that that's probably not true.
Why?
They get a call once they get back to the brownstone from the ransomer. And he's like, I said no police. And Sherlock's like, I'm not police.
I'm just a sexy man.
The ransomer calls Reese, and then Sherlock takes the phone. Yeah. He's like, I'm not police. I'm just a sexy man. And so the ransomer is like, you're not taking this seriously. I take this really seriously. And to show you how serious I am about this no police thing, I left you something on the back step. And they go out to the back porch. This back area continues to be an area of vulnerability for the brownstone that they just don't do anything about.
No.
There's one camera out there that doesn't even cover where the ransomer
Get more cameras.
went.
Sherlock, you have 17 inside.
Yeah, come on. Well, 16 of them are for the shower. He likes to get different angles of his own butt.
It's a nice butt. Mm-hmm. Need those angles.
We've only seen it from one, and it's through with pants.
Yeah, the worst angle.
Yeah.
It's a pretty acute angle.
What am I saying is the one angle from behind?
I don't know.
I don't either. Anyway, so unfortunately, the package that he's left...
What's in the box?
It's a cooler box, one of those styrofoam boxes.
What's in the box?
It's a finger.
Oh, what's in the finger?
Finger stuff, I would assume.
Bone. Whose finger?
Whose finger do you think it is?
Probably Emily's.
Yeah.
It's
the
Emily's.
kidnapped person.
Yeah.
It's not like the kidnapper would be like, here's how seriously I am about it, and mails them his middle finger.
I'll rip my own finger off.
Fuck you.
Finger's got bite marks in it because he chewed it off.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's how serious I am. I'll chew off my own finger. You don't want to mess with me, bro. I'll chew off all my fingers.
I don't like that, baby. Can I erase that from my memory? Okay. So now it's a little more... Oh, and he also has said you have 12 fewer hours than you did before. Or you have 6 fewer hours or something like that. So Sherlock compared the fingerprint of the finger. And it is Emily's finger. Because, it's a horrible reminder that the kidnapper has control of her and everything. But it is also a little tube covered in clues.
Yeah.
Giant gun filled with drugs. Little tube covered in clues. And so... Sherlock finds something and he brings Watson over and he's like, take a look. He's got this little contraption to hold the finger up then he's got the magnifying glass over it.
Yeah.
It's very scientific, to look at a finger. And, he's like, okay, look at the finger. He's showing her his methods. Methods is another word for, detectiving.
Detective skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 2 clues on the finger. The first one is there's this little swirly floral design that's been burned into her finger.
Burn mark.
A burn mark. Like she was chained to a radiator that had that floral design on it. Mm-hmm. And so that's what he thinks happened. And he says this specific design is like in pre-war buildings. So she's in a pre-war building. And
I mean, he also saw the video where she is chained to a radiator.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess she is. I didn't remember that part.
Yeah.
So then the other clue is he's like, Watson, see that stuff under the fingernail? All that stuff on the end of the finger?
Looks like dirt.
It looks like dirt, but it's actually an Ethiopian stew.
Ethiopian what?
Yeah. It's this dish, WAT, according to the subtitles. That is a type of stew.
And the subtitles are sometimes wrong.
Yes, that's true. So he's like, those are some clues. Ethiopian restaurant? Because he's like, the kidnapper's probably not preparing Ethiopian food for his kidnappee.
Right, probably just getting some takeout.
Yeah. So, Ethiopian restaurant with pre-war building near it. How many of those could there be?
Let's just make some Venn diagrams on a map.
Turns out there's like 1,000.
Oh, dang it.
Yeah.
Dang New Yorkers with their love of Ethiopian food and their pre-war buildings.
No! Replace your radiators!
Build some new Ethiopian... Wait, what?
It's not an Ethiopian restaurant in a pre-war building.
Well, it could be.
It could be. Oh, dang. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, did he check for that? Did he check for both?
Above the, second floor of an Ethiopian restaurant?
Yeah, he typed into Google Ethiopian restaurant or pre-war building. He just changed that to an and. He'll get the results he wants. Learn how to Google.
Yeah, turns out, that's not true. So he wouldn't have gotten the right answer. But, so Sherlock looks pretty keyed up. And Joan is like, are you okay? You seem really intense. And he's like, have you met me? He does look very he looks like that sound,
Yeah.
And he's like, well, Joan, I'm on a deadline, and one of my clues was a finger. So
It's kind of messed up.
yeah, I'm doing my best here. So he's like, can you check on Reese? Because he's just been not moving downstairs for a half an hour.
Yeah, it's like when you leave your dog in the other room. You're like, I don't want to hear him getting into things, but if I'm not hearing him do anything, he's probably doing something wrong.
Right. What he's getting into something silently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So turns out Reese is just moping basically because he's got less confidence in Sherlock than he did before, and he's like, Sherlock isn't himself. He's not gonna do it. He can't do it. So I don't know where Joan goes for this, but there's a little Reese and Sherlock scene. Sherlock is watching the tape to try and see if there's a reflection in her eyeballs of the killer, or see if the light and shadows spell out the address of the place or anything. And Reese is like, this isn't you. This is not looking at a shoe and seeing the stains. You need to do drugs. Clearly, because when you did drugs, you solved that weird case of the dry ice under the bed that killed that person.
You were really cool. And now you're kind of being lame.
Yeah, you're being really lame. So here's some more drugs. Does he put heroin on the table or coke?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what powdered heroin looks like.
True. You know what other heroin looks like?
Yes. A spoon full of molasses.
Ah, yes. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
It was a white powder. I assumed it was coke.
Yeah. Sherlock is not happy about that.
He angry.
Yeah. So he grabs Reese by the collar and he's like, why would you do that? What's wrong with you?
Get me swump!
Yes, he's yelling that. And, he's like, I don't need it. You shouldn't have done that. And Reese is like, you need it!
It's my daughter on the line.
They got my daughter in their swamp. So, Joan comes in and is like, whoa, 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 whoa! What is this? Break it up!
What's going on here?
Yeah, let me see some hands. Sherlock puts the drug in his pocket, which I don't know if this comes back up again or what, but he grabbed the little powdered bag from Reese and then fought with him and then put his hand in his pocket.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, he never does the drugs, but we also don't see him
throw it out or put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really a Chekhov's drug bag. Anyway, yeah, so we don't know what happens to this. We have to assume he threw it out. But he's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go for a walk now. Goodbye. And he leaves in a huff. An absolute huff.
And he puffs.
He does.
And he doesn't do the blow.
So, he's sitting on a park bench all by himself. And he dials the phone and he calls his father. He says, this is Sherlock Holmes. I'd like to speak with my father. Daddy? Papa? May I have some money, please?
All I want is $2.2 million.
Please. And, so, I mean, let's reenact the phone call. Hello, I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'd like to speak to my father, please.
It's me, your dad.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, son. What?
I've missed you so.
I'm busy, man. What do you want?
I love you, Papa.
Oh, this is not good. You're showing affection. You need something. What is it?
You sound so gruff and handsome.
I'm about to hang up on you.
Can I have $2.2 million, please?
Sure, but do me a favor.
Okay,
Never call me again. Goodbye. Click.
Goodbye, Papa. So that's basically, it's off screen, but that's what happens. So he comes back in to the apartment and he's like, hey, so Reese, fun fact, your daughter will be released within the hour. And Reese is like, oh my God, you solved it. And Sherlock's like, no, my dad has $2.2 million and I'm going to do him some favors later. I don't know what they are, but they'll probably be horrible because my father is a horrible, evil bastard. But
it'll be worth it.
It'll be all done.
Because you'll be out of my life forever.
Forever. That's on period, he said. He says, he says to Reese, like, the money is, I could have solved it, but you can't be in my life for even another minute. Mm-hmm. You gotta get the fuck out. And Reese is like, damn, sad if true, but okay. So he's gonna wire the money with his Microsoft Surface tablet. No, the logo isn't showing this episode, but that is what he has. So he's gonna transfer the money at some intersection with his tablet, and then they'll release the girl. So he's at the little corner where they're supposed to meet the guys, and there's some painters walking around, and they look normal.
They have a painter's van.
Uh-huh.
And painter's clothes.
Uh-huh.
And painter's hats.
Uh-huh.
And paint.
Uh-huh. And expensive black shoes.
What?
And guns.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So Sherlock is like, this is not right. So the DEA agent comes to the house.
The brownstone.
The brownstone.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, hello, Joan. I need to come in now. I need to talk to Sherlock. It's very important. So he comes in, and Sherlock calls Joan, and he's like, Joan, this is a setup. These painters, their shoes are as expensive as they are clean.
Oh, no.
And I heard them say aguajero, which is Dominican slang for a braggart.
Oh, my goodness.
Which braggart is only a word that Sherlock would use. And so he's like, we got set up. And the only person who knew about Reese's debt to the Dominicans and knew that I was helping and some other thing.
Has a stinky butt.
Right. That was a big clue that we didn't talk about, but yeah, that is in there. He's like, is the DE agent. He must be the one who did it. And Joan is like, yeah.
Yeah, I think I know that because he's currently holding a gun to my head.
Yep. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye. Yeah, oh no, they don't hang up. Joan hands the phone to the D agent, and Sherlock is like, oh, well, let me do an on-the-go parlor room reveal.
Ooh.
Because he's running away from the painters, because they caught on to him running away.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
Sherlock's multitasking right now.
He is. He puts his phone on speaker and puts it in his coat pocket. And he climbs up this fire escape of this building and smashes the window to an apartment. And then the next time it cuts back to him, he's on the floor, like he's on the ground a block away and watching them go up so he backtracked.
Oh, snap.
Yeah.
He sent the painters on a wild goose chase.
Mm-hmm. A mongoose chase.
Falcon X.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to mention. Back when Joan was like, you have to go to another NA meeting today. And Sherlock was like, ugh, I just went yesterday. He's like, okay, I bet they'll enjoy the case of the blue carbuncle. And Joan is like, no, you're not doing another case. You're going to talk about your sobriety. But I just want to mention the blue carbuncle, Not going to be an episode because they already mentioned it.
Is that another Sherlock case?
It must be.
Top 15?
Let's look up the ranking. It'll be like, this is the story that Arthur Conan Doyle wishes he hadn't written.
That's all of Sherlock. The dude hates Sherlock.
Well, he didn't want to undo it. No listing of how much Sir Arthur Conan Doyle liked that.
So probably not top 15.
Probably not top 19 even.
Damn.
Yeah. So anyway, we're back to the chase and everything, and Sherlock is talking to the DEA agent. The Dagent. So he explains to the DEA agent, who already knows this because he did it, how this must have happened, which is the DEA agent, being part of the cartel undercover, discovers that the cartel got stolen from by this guy, 18 months ago. And so he's like, I'm going to use this information to get some money for myself.
Ooh.
Some schmurney. And he uses his, government database thing to look up Reese and to look up that he had a daughter and, her address and everything and kidnap her. And then he learns that Reese has involved Sherlock because Sherlock walks right up to him and goes, "Hello, my name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm a detective. Did you do a kidnapping? Do you know if the cartel did a kidnapping?"
Wait, you're telling me that when Sherlock met this dude in the bar, he lied to Sherlock? Said he had nothing to do with the kidnapping when he did have everything to do with the kidnapping?
He was the only person to have anything to do with the kidnapping, and he lied and said he didn't even know what was happening.
What a jerk.
Yeah, he did kind of tell the truth because Sherlock asked if the cartel was involved, and Sherlock said, and he said, no, the cartel is not involved.
Bah, don't give this guy any more credit.
I'm just saying.
Don't keep it to yourself.
I can't. That's not what podcasting is about. Podcasting is about saying things that you're thinking.
Oh.
No matter what it is.
Banana smoothies.
Well, don't just make stuff up.
I wasn't making stuff up. That's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
If you put enough bananas in a smoothie and then you pour that into a banana-shaped ice tray, then you just get a banana.
That's just not true.
Well, we can agree to disagree, but I am right.
It's just not true.
Now, if you mush up a banana and then freeze it, it'll just be a banana again.
If you mush up a banana, it'll stay a banana in mushed shape.
Right.
But it won't be a regular shaped banana ever again.
If you put it in a mold of a banana.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the freezer.
And then you take it out of the freezer and it comes to room temperature again.
It'll stay in place. Physics.
You are demonstrably incorrect.
I'm not a monster or a demon.
So anyway, the DEA agent has zip-tied up Joan and Reese.
Oh no. He's not supposed to do that.
It's against the law.
Yeah, and he's a man of the law.
Mm-hmm. Or he was.
Seems more like he's an outlaw.
I think outlaw is a specific thing.
He's working outside the law.
Okay, true.
So he's got them tied up, and there's no way out, except Reese has a plan. Reese is like, "Hey, Joan, you're a pretty hot lady, but you're also a good friend."
He does say it in that order.
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's a dick.
Yeah.
But he's like, "You know what? You're good to Sherlock, so I'm going to be good to you. I got this pocket knife that I've only ever used to cut lines. Get it? I do drugs.
If you know what I mean.
I mean drugs. But I'm going to use it to get us free, and then I'll attack this jackass, and you can escape." And Joan's like, "No, don't do that." And then he does that.
And she's like, "Well, I'm not going to run away." So he attacks the DEA agent.
Gets shot in the gut, but lunges at him.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Gets him on the ground.
They're like struggling.
They're wrestling.
They're covered in blood.
They're blood wrestling. God, that sounds pretty metal. And Joan grabs our good friend, Angus.
Angus the bust.
Hits the DEA agent over the head.
And she goes, "Who's busted now, buddy?"
He's busted.
Wait, she didn't say that, but she should have.
Because he got busted by the bust.
And then he gets arrested. So really, the DEA agent, the agent, he gets busted after he gets busted by the bust that got busted during the busting.
Mm-hmm. Because Angus is smashed up to pieces now, yes.
Yeah, he's a bust that got busted.
Mm-hmm. He's a busted bust. So now the cops got him. And...
oh, now we see Gregson.
oh, yeah. I forgot about that. He's in the interrogation room, and he's like, "I found Reese, and I thought that he was, I thought that he could be an asset. I approached him about something. I don't
Man,
know.
he's just lying out his butt.
He's lying right out of his butt, like this. Those farts were all lies. A truthful fart sounds like this.
I don't like when I get suspicious farts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hiding something?
Right?
I don't know.
Are you suspicious of the farts, or are the farts suspicious of you?
Oh, I'm suspicious that it was a fart.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I have farts sometimes that are like, the fart doesn't know if it can trust me. You know, it's like,
Don't hurt me. I've been hurt before.
wow. No matter is created, so all the air we breathe has like been breathed before. All of our farts have been farted before.
What?
Because if you breathe in, you breathe in a lot of air, but you also eat some, and it comes out via fart, and then it's re-entered into the air for someone else to breathe in or accidentally eat some, and then fart out.
Okay. Yeah.
We're always breathing dinosaur farts, but we're also always farting
Dinosaur
and
breath.
human farts.
Oh.
Do you think you've ever farted out like Benjamin Franklin's fart?
Do you ever fart and think, that could be my last fart?
Damn. No.
Every time. I think it every time. That's why I always fart twice, because I'm like, I can do better.
You gotta make sure you go out with a... Go out with a... Wait, no. Live fast and leave a pretty... That's what I always say. I like that episode of Futurama where that woman says that. She's like, die young and leave a pretty corpse. That's what I always say. And Bender's like, you should start saying something else. So anyway, where are we? The D agent is in the interrogation room and he's like, I can't help you. I don't know anything about this kidnapping.
And also, yeah, I shot a dude, but I did it in self-defense.
And Joan was just there.
I'm a cop, so I think everybody's the enemy.
Yeah.
So how was I to know?
Yeah, exactly. So the captain is like, no, I think you're running out the clock and you're hoping that Emily will die before we find her. But there's an Ethiopian restaurant really close to your apartment, and there's like 5 pre-war buildings in that area. So we're already looking through all of them, and we're gonna find it pretty soon.
But also knowing that she's down to 9 fingers, she probably needs some medical attention. So, hey, maybe just help us out. And
we won't put you in general population.
with a note on your back that says, I'm a cop.
Yeah. Crooked DEA. So he's like, wait, I'll tell you things. We don't see it because who gives a shit? It's not interesting. So we cut to Reese's hospital room. Because remember, he got shot in the gut.
Oh, yeah. How's he doing?
He's sleeping, but he's alive. He's not in a coma or anything.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I guess.
It's not like he died because it's elementary.
Right.
So Sherlock comes in and he gives him a big fat envelope and goes to leave. And Reese is like, hey, I'm awake. And Sherlock's like, well, bye. Reese says something like, oh, given what all I've done to my liver, you'd think you could handle a bullet or two. And
you think it could deflect a bullet?
And Sherlock is like, yeah, this money is for you. It's not my father's money. It's just I have some money around the brownstone for informants and stuff. So, there's always money in the banana stand. I thought you could have some and get out of my life forever. And Reese is like, is that for me or for you? And Sherlock is like, goodbye. I don't remember.
It's not $2.2 million, but it's something.
Mm-hmm. I think Sherlock says, like, my sobriety gets tested every day. You were just the most recent test. I think that's kind of him saying, like, I don't think you're a horrible person. Mm-hmm. So he's like, wants to help him get back on his feet a little bit. And then Reese says that he believes in him again.
Even without the drugs?
Even without the drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what everybody needs, the approval of their ex-drug dealer. Mm-hmm. Kevin, if you're out there, please text me back.
So now, it's the end of the crime solving. We got 20 more seconds.
Of character development?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So first we have some head development of Angus. Sherlock is repairing Angus. Uh-huh. He's gluing him back together.
Yeah, he's becoming whole again.
Mm-hmm. But he still has a hole.
Yeah.
In his head. So Joan is like, oh, I thought that was the last of Angus. And I was like, yeah, me too. I was confused about whether they replaced him or not. And Sherlock says, you remembered his name. Consider us touched. He's silly. He's a cute, silly man sometimes. He names his objects and he thinks that the objects have feelings sometimes a little bit. Just a little bit.
He's my friend Ology Butts.
So Sherlock fesses up to Joan that Reese had offered him drugs. And Joan is like, wow, do you want to talk about it? And Sherlock is like, no.
He says, not to you.
Yeah.
He goes, not with you.
Yeah.
But what he means is, not just with you. Because it would be better in a group setting. Mm-hmm. Maybe if people heard how awesome I was at not doing drugs, they'd be inspired to also not do drugs.
He's beginning to understand the point of NA. Yeah, so he's like, there's a meeting in 15 minutes. Do you want to go with me?
Really, he's just excited that he can tell a story, get attention, and do right by Joan.
Yeah, he gets to tell a sobriety story that is also interesting and a crime-solving mystery.
You know he's not going to just talk about... He's not going to be like, oh, my drug dealer came to town and I had to tell him no. He'd be like, check this case out.
Right. Yeah. He's like, and then I looked under the fingernail and I'm still not doing drugs at this point. And there's this like stew under there. So yeah, it's nice. It's like it's a nice little sobriety moment, a nice friendship moment from Sherlock.
Yeah. Yay.
And that's the episode.
That's the episode.
The end. But it's not the end of our episode of LMNOP.
Oh?
No, because we like to hear from you, our listeners, at LMNOPcast on Twitter is our Twitter handle. You can tweet at us questions and things like that.
Ooh, sounds fun.
So I mentioned that our episode this week was about locating a taken person and also about old friends popping back into your life to be, bad influences. And we got a question from Alex Leafcrunch, at Leafcrunch, friend of the show, guest of the show.
Ooh, crunchy.
Mm-hmm. And she says, what particular set of skills does each of you have, and what life or death situation could you confidently resolve with them? If I ever needed to get someone back from a kidnapping by typing a strongly but professionally worded email, I'd be all over that shit. Good afternoon. Hope you're well. And just looking to circle back on this, if you could get back to me at your earliest convenience.
If the ransomer called me and was like, I'm gonna kill this person that means a lot to you unless I hear you watching TV and crying.
You would ace that.
Nail it.
That person would be back in 2 seconds.
Safe as sausages.
We were watching a happy scene in a TV show the other day and you cried.
Here's the thing. You can cry from any emotion.
How many times have you cried from confusion?
Often. You think in my 7.5 years of college education, I never sat in a college lecture hall just crying because I didn't understand something?
Well, that's crying from sadness of not knowing.
Of confusion. You can't tell me what I cry about. I know what I cry about.
So that was our only question this week. But we would love to hear from you at LMNOPcast on Twitter. You can go ahead and follow that Twitter, and you get updates from us, like when I had a headache and we couldn't do an episode.
And sometimes there are videos of Bubba.
It's true. That was a very cute video of Bubba.
One time there was a video of Bubba.
We'll put some more Bubba stuff on the LMNOPcast Twitter.
Yeah,
maybe that'll get some hashtag Huskies of Twitter. Get some people listening to the pod.
Sherlock Husky.
Sherlock Holmesky.
Sherlock Holes is what dogs dig in the backyard.
It's true. Bone Watson. So what dogs like is bones. If you would like to chat with us in a more private setting as well, we have the Discord, the LMNOP Discord, which is our pinned tweet on our Twitter. We would love to have you. And if you'd like to contribute monetarily to the podcast, you can put as many dollar bills and quarters as will fit in a manila envelope and mail it to 555 62th.
62th.
Vermouth.
There's 62th in your Vermouth?
Don't do that. That's not a real address. I am Val Flightcub. You can find me on Twitter at FlightCub. The second B stands for Bone Watson.
And you can find me by sitting in your bathtub and crying silently.
You can find our podcast at noisepace.xyz, which hosts a lot of great podcasts, such as LMNOP, this one.
And I don't actually know any of the others. Just listen to this one twice.
Yeah, thank you to Noisepace for hosting us. And that's going to do it for our episode today. This marble will keep on rolling.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.